Vessel.
And I'm Melody.
And today we're taking a look at a game called Princess Jing. In this game, the princess does not want to obey her father because she does not appreciate all that her father does and cares for her. And it's your typical rebellious daughter scenario. What? I need to speak out against such garbage. Anyway, she has this guard she's in love with, and no one lets her marry him, so she's going to rent him in the middle of the night. And she takes a decoy with her because she watched Star Wars Episode 1. So, in this game, you have these different divider thingamabobbers. Screens is the word for that. And you have your princess and you're moving around, but you have a guy with a mirror trying to see them. It sounds interesting. I was pretty excited when I saw this. What did you think when we first set it up?
I didn't know what they were used for until I was like, oh, that's cool. Why is there a character that has this? But yeah, it was pretty cool once I found out. I was like, oh, okay.
Let's see if the game's any good, though. In Princess Jing, you are trying to get your princess, and this is the princess here, you can tell because she has a nice little crown. There's also a decoy. This is someone who looks kind of like the princess. And then you have a little mirror man here. There's actually a little sticker mirror that gets placed on this. You can see it's reflective there. And you have a guard. Well, your princess is trying to get to the spot directly in front of the guard. And so you're going to be taking turns doing that. On your turn, you must move one of these screens. Now, all these screens look the same. They all feel the same. You can flip them around and see that. So I could move this one. I switch this one and this one. Or I could move this one and this one. As I move different screens, I can switch diagonally or not. You can also take your princess or your magic mirror and bring them all the way back to your starting line. So if for some reason my princess is here, I can bring them all the way back to my own starting line. And you have to show your person what you're doing. So if my princess was here, for example, I could say, hey, and I can show my opponent my princess. They have to close their eyes, and then I switch it with the back row. So they know I brought it to the back row, but they don't know exactly where. You'll probably do that more often to your mirror character. Now, the mirror character is going to help you, and this is a hard thing to show on camera, but when you're looking at your mirror, you can look through this hole at your mirror, and that mirror can reflect if there's a character there. So you'll be able to see the different princess or the decoy as you move your mirror around if you look carefully, but you want to look not too carefully so that your opponent doesn't know exactly where they are. If you think you know where the princess is, I can be like, the princess is here. And if I do so, then the opponent has to put the princess back on their side of the board. And then I get an extra turn. However, if I'm mistaken, then the opponent gets an extra turn. So I have to be very careful. Let's say they move someone up, and I'm like, oh, that's definitely the princess. And I say, this is the princess. And they're like, nope. Then they get another move, and then they move this person up. So you have to be very cautious when guessing because you can give your opponent another move. There's also another method called the legendary animals, and this is an expert mode. Each player gets 3 animals. You're going to pick 2 of these animals, and you're going to put these animals here in the slots on your back row. Well, actually, you can start in the back 2 rows. You'll get an extra mirror guy, and then you'll have 3 different guards, and those guards are going to all be placed in different locations. And now the princess has to get to one of the guards, but you need to figure out which guard that princess is going for. So you're going to be moving your mirror guys around, trying to catch a glimpse of the opponent's animals. Once you know which 2 animals they have, so for example, let's say they have the stork and the crane and the owl, then I know they want this chunky guard here. If they have the fox and the crane, they want the bald guard, and so on and so forth. Once you figure out which guard it is, if you get your princess to that guard, you win. In the normal game, you get your princess to the guard across the table, you reveal it, you win. In the legendary animals, you have to find the right guard to do so. Anyway, that's how you play. Now, there are 2 versions of the game. There's the regular game and the advanced game. Which one do you prefer?
The advanced game, because I like looking for more stuff.
Yeah, the basic game is really just a bluffing game. I'm moving a piece. Is it the princess? You have to guess or not. And that's really all you do the whole time. Mm-hmm. The mirror guy you use every once in a while, but The mirror guy might see the decoy, and actually, you'd be surprised. Those mirrors are not good quality.
No.
So when you see a blob, it might be the princess or it might be the decoy. I guess that maybe they did it on purpose. Like I say, a girl running that way, and you catch her. You're just a handmaiden, maybe. But I think the mirror thing is cool. The hard thing about the mirrors is you are trying to look at the mirror without letting your opponent know
That you're
where your
looking at the
mirror
mirror.
is. So you're kind of just like. What did you think about the whole mirror and looking at stuff?
For me, it was actually kind of easier for me to tell which one was the princess and which one was the maiden.
Young eyes, okay, whatever.
It was just like, oh, this princess has that, and the maid has this look.
Didn't I just mistake the guard for the princess one time?
Yes.
He was a very cute guard. All right.
I also, yeah, I forgot what the second thing I was going to say.
You were talking about the mirrors, and you
Yeah.
could see the mirrors.
And trying to be discreet about it was not very hard. Like, I actually had to lean in to try to see, especially the farther out your mirror guy was, and I was just like, nah, forget trying to be discreet. That's where my mirror guy is, in this area. Just
Yeah, I guess. I wish there was an easier way to see them with the mirrors, but yeah, you really do have to kind of, you can't glance and see them. Now, picking up the things, we wondered if you could tell that there was a figure on it. Like, was it a little bit heavier when you picked it up? But we tested it later on, and I think we couldn't tell. Like, I put a princess in and then picked it up to see which one I thought had the princess.
You guessed right.
Did I guess right? Mm-hmm. But I just guessed. I couldn't actually tell. So I don't think that's a problem.
The mirror guys, you can tell, though, because they're a bit heavier.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know that that's necessarily a big deal. But since you could move the other people's pieces, I don't think the base game is really that interesting, honestly. I feel like you're moving pieces back and forth, moving the mirror around, but you're just going to guess. At some point, you see your opponent moving a piece up, and you're like, that's the princess. No? Okay, now you get an extra turn. You're just kind of, it's a 50-50 chance. They might be bluffing, they might not be. With the animals, it's a little more interesting because you have to move the mirror guys around, and they're trying to move the animals away from you so you can't see them. And I found that was a more interesting game. What did you feel about the animal game? Did you feel like there was much of a game there?
Definitely more of a game than the first one because you are searching for more than just a princess, but also the animal so that you yourself can win. And I liked how it actually gave you a goal to go for instead of just get your princess there.
So what would you give your final rating to the game?
Probably a 6.5-ish because it was okay. Because I did like having to move around and try to find it, but that was it.
I think the concept is more interesting than the game itself. I would give it a 6. I don't think it's a bad game. It's fun. It's interesting. But with mirrors, you're kind of looking for lights and bouncing lights. And, the mirror concept is neat. Oh, I can't see these pieces, and you're picking them. That's a cool concept. But in the end, it's honestly boring with the base game. And when you add the animals in, it's only slightly more interesting as you move around, look at animals, look at your chart. Okay, now I got to get to the thin guard and slowly move over there. And then that whole bluffing aspect. It's a game that when you put on a table, people are going to come by and go, wow, what is this?
Yeah, it has a very nice design. I really like the design of the game.
Yeah, and I don't think that after people play it that they're going to come back that often. We played several games of it, and it was interesting, but if I never play it again, I don't think I would be too upset. So an okay game for me, Princess Jing. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
And I'm Melody.
And you've been watching Double Trouble.
Boom!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.